This is every time Stewie faced serious health issues on Family Guy. Let's kick things off with the time Stewie got a little too obsessive about this age. It all starts off when the Griffins try to get tickets to a science museum. Why a family like this would even want to go to the museum is beyond me, cause they seem more like the mindless daytime TV crowd, but that's besides the point. Basically, when Lois tells the ticket counter guy to give them one ticket for an infant, he laughs and says that Stewie's at least 3 years old. Now, Stewie's pretty full of himself, so he doesn't take this well at all.
Now, before you say anything, Brian, this is very important to me.
Damn, the kid's face looks tighter than the skin on a snare drum. What on earth did he do to himself? Well, he says he used just a bit of Botox and just a bit of filler. And maybe some strings, whatever that means. Brian is understandably concerned, but when was the last time Stewie listened to him? On top of that, he seems to get a lot of encouragement the next time he's out and about. When the Griffins go grocery shopping, every mom in the store goes gaga over Stewie's new look. One mom even says he doesn't look a day over 10 months old, which obviously reinforces all the body image issues that made Stewie take such drastic measures in the first place. Look, we all know this isn't going to end well because Stewie just doesn't know when to quit.
Stewie, I've been thinking about this whole... Oh my God, what happened to your face?
Yup, Stewie got more plastic surgery done. Like, way more. Like, so much plastic surgery that his eyes no longer close when he sleeps. So he's blind for a few seconds when he wakes up. Like, the kid's looking like something out of a Cronenberg movie, and I feel like he's gonna have to pay some private hospital millions of dollars to fix the damage. Probably the biggest problem of all is that Stewie has school picture day, cause, like, of course, that's his biggest priority right now. The fact that his brain looks like it's about to leak out of his eyeballs clearly isn't a big deal. But anyway, the kid wants what he wants, so Brian has to step in and be the adult again. Clearly, the only sensible action is to go to a doctor. So that's exactly where Brian takes Stewie. But the thing is, Stewie's gone so far with his plastic surgery that it won't be an easy fix. Doctor, can you do anything for the poor kid?
Oh, sure. We just break every bone in his face and then smush him back into position.
Yikes, that sounds like the most dangerous procedure of all time, but it's not like Stewie's got a choice. What with picture day coming up and all? By some miracle, he manages to walk into the classroom looking good as new. But get this, the doctor told him to rest and put ice on his face to make sure the procedure works, except Stewie didn't do that because it would have meant missing picture day. Surely nothing will go wrong here.
1, 2, 3.
I don't know what I was expecting, but it definitely wasn't that. I'll be right back. I have to wash my eyes out with acid. Okay, I'm back. Now, wait till you hear about the time a little slip up from Brian leaves Stewie feeling extra crispy. And let's be real, Peter's partly to blame as well, cause of course he is. I mean, he literally takes his infant son out onto a golf course on a sweltering hot day without a drop of sunscreen, so by the time they're back, Stewie's looking like someone the English would love to colonize. Now, Lois is pretty annoyed at how irresponsible Peter was, but Stewie himself seems to have a different opinion.
Wow, look at me. I'm a young Eartha Kitt.
I mean, I wouldn't go that far, but you sure have a decent tan going, little man. Naturally, Stewie loves the tan look so much that he gets obsessed with it. Before you know it, he's got himself a tanning mirror and he's soaking up as many rays as he can. I guess no one's told him about the dangers of skin cancer yet, but I also kind of don't want to burst his bubble. It's also hilarious to see the little idiot act like he's all that when the truth is he looks like someone that wouldn't be allowed within 100 yards of a school. But look, we all know how full of himself Stewie can be, right? Like, this whole situation is just feeding his ego, and that never ends well. But you'll never guess what he does next. By some bizarre twist of logic, Stewie starts a whole club full of tanned people. It's like one of those California parties where ugly old rich dudes go to get some strange. Like, I'm talking a swingers club right out of Eyes Wide Shut. But even Tom Cruise ain't got nothing on Stewie's tan right here. Now, you might be wondering, when does Stewie get sick in all this? I mean, you were promised sick Stewie, and by God, you'll get it. At some point, Stewie's not satisfied by the sun. He needs more of a tan, and he needs it now. So what does he do? Why, buy himself a tanning bed, of course. And he's obviously going to take it several steps beyond the realm of sanity.
Hey, wake me up in 15, will you, babe? Fine.
Wait a second, 15 minutes is a pretty reasonable, actually. Maybe Stewie will make it out of this one in one piece. Except, of course, he won't. Real great job there, Brian. This means that Stewie just spent 6 hours in a tanning bed, which sounds like a one-way ticket to Cancerville. Brian opens up the tanning bed, and lo and behold, Stewie's in there looking so deep-fried that Colonel Sanders would be proud. He's now effectively made his entire life a complete nightmare. Like, he can't even make fun of Lois without getting a smack on his crispy skin.
You're getting a good. Hey, Stewie. Nice sunburn. God you horse's ass!
But it's not all bad. Stewie eventually starts to peel off, and he naturally thinks that he's got through this entire ordeal without a scratch. But if you look closely, you'll see a tiny black speck on Stewie's stomach. Looks like a mole, right? Well, my friends, if you see a mole where previously there was none, that can only mean one thing: skin cancer. Stewie does the smart thing and goes straight to the doctor, only to find out that the tests won't be back for a few days. In a stunning example of medical illiteracy, Stewie says that he might be dead by then. Although, to be fair, he might well be if we follow Family Guy logic. Since he thinks he's going to drop dead at any moment, Stewie starts to go through his bucket list one by one, and Brian has to be right there with him because he's the one that put Stewie in this situation. Stewie's just about ready to speak his final words, which happen to be a strange poem about some kind of squiggly line, when Brian gets a phone call.
All right, I'll tell him. Thanks. Bye. You don't have cancer. You're gonna be fine.
Well, there you go. All's well that ends well, I suppose. Maybe next time try to practice a bit of restraint, Stewie? Like, I get that Brian's the one that left you in there for 6 hours, but dear lord, why would you even lock yourself in a tanning bed in the first place? That's asking for trouble in my humble opinion, even though Stewie did get done dirty by practically every member of the family. Like, just check out what happened when Stewie took an extra long vacation to Coma City.
Well, I'm off to buy imaginary groceries.
That's all, folks. End of the episode, a series finale. Stewie's dead, and there's nothing we can do about it. Not. Meg and Chris start freaking out when they see Stewie lying there in a mangled heap. I mean, the kid clearly has some long-term damage, right? Like, shoulders don't bend like that. Of course, Meg and Chris mostly care about pinning the blame on each other at first, but they eventually realize how badly they messed up.
What do we do? Is he breathing? It looks like it. That's a good sign, right?
Yeah, Meg and Chris are totally screwed. I mean, Stewie's technically alive, but he's definitely not conscious, and his brain is literally poking out of his skull. And on top of that, if Lois finds out what they did to her baby boy, she'll probably tear them apart at the molecular level. They have to find a way to hide what they've done, at least until they can figure out how to fix it. So what do? Find the best doctor in the country? Disinfect the wound? Maybe try to squeeze his skull until it closes up again? Nope.
Oh, look at my little cowboy.
I don't know if this is the dumbest or smartest thing I've ever seen, but at least Chris and Meg have managed to hide the truth from Lois. But like, the kid is literally unconscious, and a cowboy hat isn't going to change that, especially when he keeps falling face first into the mashed potatoes. I guess they can't make do with Chris steering Stewie around like a puppet, but this is some messed up stuff. And it gets worse. For some godforsaken reason, Chris tries to clean the wound, not realizing that it's literally Stewie's exposed brain, but I mean, they've got to do something, because apparently the maggots in the festering wound have started to build rocket ships. I'm no doctor, but that doesn't sound good at all. But at least it can't get any worse, right?
We just gotta clean the wound, Meg. Hand me that scrub brush.
No, for the love of all that's holy, please God, no. Oh, hey, look, Peter's here.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Dad.
So, question. How long has Stewie been unconscious?
So, it turns out that Peter's no stranger to his children being knocked unconscious. In fact, he's so chill about everything that he just tells Meg to go out and buy some hats. Not medicine, hats. Now that Peter's in on it, hiding Stewie's sorry state becomes a piece of cake for Chris and Meg. I mean, the guy literally takes point on the whole scam, and let me tell ya, he's scarily good at lying to Lois. Like, he even has a little stick tied to Stewie's wrist to make it look like he's moving his hand, and I haven't even mentioned those drawn-on eyes yet. Next thing you know, there's literal flies buzzing around Stewie's exposed brain, which is a sentence I did not see myself saying at any point in my life. Oh, and I'm not the only one inventing brand new sentences either.
Oh, crap. You smell that? That's brain smell.
What an unfortunate day to understand English. But anyway, Meg's about this close to taking Stewie to the hospital, but that's when Peter has his brightest idea yet. He literally tosses his infant son in the path of Lois's car, so she thinks she's the one that messed him up, even though that car didn't do much more damage if you ask me. Well, at least Lois will finally do the right thing.
Peter, we have to cover this up.
Yeah, but what?
Lois ends up coming up with the exact same plan Peter cooked up, so Stewie just spends the next months healing up with a hat covering up his traumatic brain injury, and in case you're wondering, he does wake up.
Hey, I just found out it's November. What the fuck happened?
Yeah, never you mind, Stewie. It's all in your head. This wasn't the first time he got screwed over either. On the other hand, Stewie's not usually the victim. Most of the time, he's the one that messes himself up. Case in point, he nearly eats himself into an early grave for the weirdest reason imaginable. Okay, so this episode actually starts out with the Griffins shacking up at a hotel on Brian's dime for, reasons.
Dad, I'm itchy. I'm itchy.
Out of my way, wide load. Mom, there's fleas all over the house.
Yeah, let's not get into that. that. The point is, the exterminators end up wrecking the house trying to get rid of the little critters, so Brian decides to pay for the family to stay at a nice hotel. They're obviously thrilled because they don't usually get to enjoy the finer things in life, but something happens that sends Chris spiraling.
I'm sorry, sir. You can't park your van on the diving board.
This is my son.
Oh, my apologies. Hey, Tom! He's not a van. He's just a fat kid.
Okay, wow, rude. I'd feel all kinds of bad about myself if someone fat shamed me like that. Although to be fair, Chris does kind of look like the tub of lard I bought at Costco last year. Sorry, you know I had to. But anyway, Chris is left feeling real bad about his body. His mom tries recommending some diet and exercise, and Meg has the rather questionable suggestion of sticking his finger down his throat. Thankfully, Chris ignores Meg and gets on a diet. But when his mom serves everyone meatloaf and hands him a plate of steamed vegetables, he immediately regrets the decision. And I mean, I don't blame him. Like, of all the diet foods Lois could have cooked up, she decided to go with something that clearly smells like feet, and to make things worse, Stewie decides to rub it in his brother's face.
This meatloaf is a symphony of flavor. It's too bad you can't have some. It's practically orgasmic.
Real classy, you little twerp. I guess there's no harm in having a little fun, although knowing Stewie, I'm willing to bet my house that he'll take this way too far. And hey, presto, Stewie suddenly morbidly obese, all because he wants to eat in front of Chris. Like, he literally says no to chocolate cake, but then starts stuffing his face as soon as Chris arrives. And things are only getting started. Pretty soon, Stewie's weight gain starts to have a serious impact on his life. Eventually, Stewie gets so dang fat that he breaks his own chair, leaving him helplessly rolling around on the floor like some kind of grotesque beach ball. Brian walks in and could probably help Stewie, but instead, he decides to teach him a lesson for being so mean to Chris. But if you think Stewie decides to change his ways, you're dead wrong. In fact, he continues his binge eating and reaches a truly unprecedented level of fatness where he literally can't bring food to his own mouth. And as if that wasn't enough, all that fat seems to go straight for his brain and seems to take the bite out of Stewie's normally razor-sharp wit.
What are you looking at, you infantile stupid? That's right, damn you and such.
Aw, Stewie, remember when you were funny and also not fat? Well, it turns out that the writers are on Stewie's side because he suddenly gets thin again in the final scene.